Even though most, if not all of these points that I'm going to mention seem pretty obvious, I decided to make a video about this anyways. Hey everyone, Carmen here. Today I thought I'd do a video about where are you getting your social needs met. A very quick side note that I want to make before carrying on with this video. If you happen to hear any outside noise, it is raining today, so chances are you might hear a little bit of thunder occasionally. The first thing that I am going to mention is that I do have a part-time job. I am also in a community-based group. So for the most part, I get my social needs met offline. I don't use the internet much for socializing online. I use it more for information and entertainment purposes. I post videos to either entertain, to provide information, or to talk about a topic that I'm passionate about. There are 3 places that I'm going to mention where you can get your needs met offline. I'm first going to mention each of them before delving into each of them. The first one is volunteering. The second one is to join a club or a community-based group. The third one is to attend events that are happening in your town or city. The first one I'm going to elaborate on is volunteering. I actually started off as a volunteer. This is how I got involved in animal welfare. And now I do the finances for the animal welfare organization. See where you're able to volunteer in your community. This is a place where you could meet people of similar interests to you. The second one is where you join a club or a community-based group. I recently got involved in a community-based group. I joined towards the end of August this year, in other words 2022. I have learned quite a bit so far. A project that we are busy with right now is for festive lights at a children's home. Another offshoot I'm also going to make over here is where you can also join an interests club. For example, if you're into reading, you could join a book club. If you happen to play chess, you could join a chess club. If you enjoy an activity like running, you could join a running club. There is quite a few ways to join a club. I also find that there are quite a few interest clubs as well. The last point I'm going to mention, and one that doesn't need a lot of explanation, is attending events that are happening in your town or city. There's not a huge amount that goes on in my own town, but I know that in other parts of the world, there are quite a few events that go on, and especially at this time of year. I know that in general, some events do cost money. And especially if you're attending a bigger event or an event that is a couple of hours away from you. That is usually where people spend quite a bit of money, is when they attend events that are a couple of hours away from them. A person has to make provision for travel and for accommodation. So most would probably prefer events that are happening in your own town or city. There are a few points that I want to make before closing off this video. I know that if you're an introvert, some of these things that I've mentioned might be a bit difficult for you. But at the end of the day, it might very well be worth it. For basically the last 2 years, the pandemic has shut everything down. And since then, a lot of people prefer to do things online instead of in person. I feel that the groups that suffered the most from the pandemic was your corporate/office workplaces and your self-employed people, especially those who did their work online or who went outside to go and get a bit of socialization done. Those who worked in your essential services basically just carried on right through the pandemic. And animal welfare is basically considered an essential service, which means that I basically worked right through the pandemic. At the end of the day, I think was mostly a good thing. The very last point that I want to bring up before closing off of this video is that despite the fact that I don't have very many friends, I still get a lot of my social needs met offline, either through work or through my community-based group. So feel free to let me know down in the comments if any of these suggestions have helped. I'll definitely be checking you guys soon. Cheers.